Alright, so we got the announcement of a brand new Final Fantasy XVI event that's going to be taking place relatively soon, and then we got a really great look at some of the alternate costumes that Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, and Barrett, as well as Zack and Red XIII, will be putting on in Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and these costumes look sick. So if any of that sounds cool to you or you like what you hear, feel free to click that like button, subscribe, and smash that bell icon with a true strike if you want to stay up to date with my channel. So starting off first with that Final Fantasy XVI event. This comes to us from their official Twitter account, and they announced that at this year's PAX West event, which will be taking place in Seattle, Washington, they will be holding a panel called the Voices from Valisthea. So this panel takes place on September 2nd, which is a Saturday, and it will be in the afternoon from 4:30 to 5:30 PT. And for those of us who won't be attending the event, they will live stream it from the Square Enix Twitch and YouTube accounts, so you can watch it from the comfort of your own home. And there is some more information that they put out there on their Twitter. The panel will feature the voice actors of Ben Starr, who voices Clive, Stu Clark, who voices Dion, Nina Indez, who voices Benedicta, and to avoid any spoilers for those of you who haven't finished 16 yet, voice actor Jonathan Case, who is the voice of Margrace. So it sounds like it's going to be about an hour-long panel, and they're just going to be taking questions from the crowd and sharing their experiences working on this game. So I wouldn't expect there to be any crazy Final Fantasy XVI DLC news at this event. I think it's mostly just talking about the game as a whole as it is right now. If we were to get any type of DLC announcement this early on, which again, the game's only been out for a few months, I think they would probably reserve that for Tokyo Game Show, but I think Square would probably rather focus on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at this year's TGS instead, because the game is coming out relatively soon. By the time TGS hits, 7 Rebirth will be at minimum 4 months away and at maximum 6 months away. So they really got to get the ball rolling on the marketing for Rebirth, just to let people know, like, hey, our game is coming out relatively soon, barring any delays, of course. Now, moving on to these really awesome Ever Crisis costumes. I am losing my mind because these are like a really cool amalgamation of so many different things from other video games in the Final Fantasy VII universe as well. And thank you to Audrey on Twitter who uploaded these high-res images of all of the costumes. I will leave links in the description below to her tweet, so that way you can check these images out for yourself. Now, some of these costumes we have seen before very briefly in the Ever Crisis trailers, but now with these digital renders, we can get a really great, clear look at all of the fine details in these outfits. And as far as I know, these costumes don't have any official names just yet, at least none that have been translated into English. So, starting off first with Cloud. This is amazing. This is like a cross between his Advent Children costume, something Sephiroth would wear, and something a Mortal Kombat ninja would wear as well. It looks great. Got those really cool shoulder pads with the fur underneath, almost kind of samurai-like. We got the long kind of gown, which is very Sephiroth. Also very MK as well. We got the wrist guard, maybe kind of reminiscent of something a ninja would wear. Those really great boots, the pants, which look like his kind of signature soldier pants, which kind of have that poofiness to them. And then of course, because this is Tetsuya Nomura who designed these, you gotta have some belts somewhere. So Cloud has like a burgundy belt kind of hanging off of his right hip there, and it looks gorgeous. You know, this is kind of one of the more exciting things about Ever Crisis is the fact that we're gonna get some really cool looking outfits. And it's also a little bit jarring because the last time we saw these characters get redesigned and get new costumes was in Advent Children. So to see them nowadays with even more outfits, it's a little jarring, but at the same time it is really cool because it's just nice to freshen up these character designs just a little bit. Now, moving on next is Tifa, and this is to me like Metal Gear Solid Tifa. Like Quiet, I think was the name of the character in Metal Gear Solid 5. It's like Quiet meets Tifa, and you've got like these big knee pads and hockey looking gear underneath, which is black with the olive tones, and that's what really reminds me of Metal Gear in particular. And of course we've got all these belts hanging off of her hips with her skirt, so it's still very much true to Tifa's design, at least from like the waist up, because that's her classic outfit. And then she appears to have like those mithril claws as her weapon, which look dope. The only part that looks a little weird is her top, which is like a blue crop top sweater. Not quite sure what the significance of a blue top would be for Tifa. Maybe they just decided, hey, that's add a splash of color to the outfit. Let's go with blue. Blue kind of seems to be a color that surrounds Tifa from time to time, but it's very much like an armored Metal Gear Tifa, and she looks great. Now, next we have probably my favorite of these costumes, and that is Aerith. And there are two things here. First off, this screams Genesis to me. The color scheme, the overall design, this to me is Genesis. And I know the tagline of Ever Crisis is another possibility of a remake. And this outfit to me is like, what if Aerith joined Soldier? You know, what if she decided to work at Shinra, maybe change things from the inside? This, I guarantee you, is what she would wear if she was a Soldier First Class. You still got the classic red there that represents Aerith, but now you're incorporating more black, which a lot of these Soldier outfits did have. Sephiroth had that black, Genesis had the black, Angeal had his, signature, pretty standard Soldier First Class outfit. So this to me, I think is great, and it's the right kind of design. I think there's a nice middle ground here. It doesn't feel over-designed, it doesn't feel under-designed or kind of half-assed. This looks incredible. I really, really love this outfit. And then of course, we've got big pockets to hold stuff. Maybe Aerith's putting some flowers in there or some materia. And then of course, you gotta have the belts just hanging off somewhere, because wouldn't be Nomura without the belts. And next up we have Barrett. Now this to me is almost kind of like a Wu-Tai Barrett. We've got that poncho that's hanging off of him, which is very reminiscent of the one that Yuffie wears in Integrate, just to kind of hide her appearance a little bit. And it's almost very desert, warlike Barrett, almost like Nightmare Batman from Batman v Superman. So this is like Nightmare Barrett. He's joined Wu-Tai, maybe he's fighting alongside them. He's got grenades, his big ass gun, which looks insane. This is like a high powered gun, which almost looks like it has a flamethrower attached to it. It's massive. You've got these tubes coming out of it as well, with a breathing apparatus right in front of his face. He's got all that armor on the right side. This is very much, again, you can almost say this is like Metal Gear Solid Barrett as well. But to me, there are just so many elements that scream Yuffie in regards to the color scheme and that poncho in particular. But again, it's like Nightmare Wu-Tai Barrett. It looks insane. And our last two costumes are Zack and Red XIII, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about either of these costumes. Zack's almost kind of reminds me of Sonon's to a degree, with the jacket being like that grayish kind of color, being very short with the shoulder pads as well. It looks like they were really inspired by like a griever type design, I think is what it was called. Kind of reminds me of that little medallion that Cloud has on his shoulder in Advent Children with the wolf design. It's kind of like that. And then he's got like the armored knee pads and steel-toed boots, but he's also got like pants underneath his shorts. He's wearing like, it almost, you know what? The shorts really remind me of Tidus. Now that I really look at it, it's almost like Tidus, but Tidus decided to wear pants and knee pads at the same time underneath his outfit. And then of course he's got the belt, and then he's got this really massive gauntlet on his left wrist. So this one, there are elements that I do like, but overall, I think I would rather maybe stick to his standard soldier outfit for now. It's just, maybe it's one of those things that's got to grow on me. And then we got Red XIII, which I gotta be honest, I don't like this one. It is very post-apocalyptic, I guess you could say, almost kind of bondage-y. He's got like almost like what looks like a leather saddle on his back, but it's got these spikes that come out as well, which, you know, he could use to jump forward and spin and slice the enemy. And then he's got these shoulder pauldrons that also have the spikes on them, but the weirdest part is his face. He's got like this bridle on his face that's completely covering his eyes. There's no way he could see anything wearing this bridle armor face mask kind of thing. So overall, I'd say these are probably my least two favorite designs. The Red XIII one is just really weird. I'd be very curious though to see what the name of his outfit is. Maybe it's supposed to be like a post-apocalyptic Red XIII look that they're going for, but it's a bit odd. But I am very curious to see what else they have in store for Zack and Red in particular, just because I wasn't too crazy about their designs. And it's just really cool to see these characters freshened up over the years. Their classic costumes, of course, are classic for a reason, and most of the Advent Children designs are great as well, but to see all of these different types of outfits be incorporated into this game, it's super cool. And that's something that I hope makes its way over to maybe not Rebirth, but maybe the next Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is part 3. 3, but the ability to alternate outfits. And I'm not expecting a full wardrobe, but maybe 1 or 2 alternate outfits for each character. Maybe you could do them as a pre-order bonus or DLC, and you could activate them in a New Game Plus mode or something like that. But these costumes are sick. I cannot wait to see what Vincent and Sid and the full Kate Sith body look like. What's Red 13's alternate costumes going to be? It's really, really awesome. These look great. But that is the video. I am Curious Corduroy. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think of these costumes? Do you think they look great? Do you think maybe they're ugly? Am I in the minority here? Am I the only person that really likes these? Before you go, make sure to check out my most recent video where we take a look at an Ever Crisis feature that I think is really cool that I would love to see appear in Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. I will see you guys in the next video. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.